Hey guys, welcome to chapter 6. We are going to be looking at the concept of functions. Now, this is something we've already looked at in the past. We looked at linear functions specifically, patterns and functions that were so predictable that when we graphed them, they always made straight lines. But there are other functions out there. So this chapter is actually a more general look at the idea of a function and not just linear functions. So some of it may seem like repeat concepts, which they are, but just realize that we are expanding our understanding from linear functions to just functions in general. All right, now 6.1 is all about understanding what's the difference between relations and functions. To understand that concept that mathematical relations and functions are a little bit different. And in addition to all the different ways that we've learned to display functions so far, as a table, as a graph, as an equation, that we're also going to learn how to represent them as what we call mappings. Mappings is a new one that we haven't seen before. All right, so let's get started. All right, so first off, a relation. A relation pairs inputs with outputs. So anytime I create a relationship between two different variables, I've created a relation. So here's some examples. Something you might do in a science class, the time spent running versus the distance covered. The minute I started recording down the times and the distances covered, I created a relation. The input is the time and the output is the distance. Here's another one. Number of hours you work versus the amount produced. The input is to say, oh, I worked this many hours. The output would be how many units of whatever you're building you produced. And here's another one. Shoe size versus IQ score. Okay, so I put that one in there because I wanted you to realize that anytime you pair inputs with outputs, even if they don't make sense, that's considered a relation. I put this third one in because we all know that your shoe size has nothing to do with your intelligence quotient. The two are not related. But the minute somebody started to look at that and put the shoe size data and paired it with the IQ data, that they created a relation. Okay, so a relation is any time you pair inputs with outputs, whether it makes sense or not. All right, let's move on.